$1.5 a day, they can consider as poverty. So they do not have access to financial services. So that's why they're in this poverty situation. Number two, 1 billion people unable to read, and which is like 1/7 of the world population. And we developed this education industry for almost like 200 years, but we cannot reach this community because it was high infrastructure cost, and it was not very easy to build the whole infrastructure, whole facilities to reach all these people. So now there is a good news that we have ICT. Maybe we can somehow reach this population and we can provide educational services to them. 1.5 million children die of diarrhea each year. I think this is something that go with this conference theme this year. Look at these children; they're dying of diarrhea. Diarrhea is a disease that we have developed the technology many years ago, and it is not very expensive. It is inexpensive, but the unfortunate fact is we have to lose 1.5 million children um, almost every year. The number is a little less now because this number came from 2009. If you divide by 1.5 million by 365, it will give you 4,000. So it means every day we are losing 4,000 kids out of diarrhea. Even we are not losing 4,000 people out of corona, but we are losing this much of population because they are not really getting attention uh, uh, for many reasons. But if you look at this figure, this is not very much fortunate, but we really have to do something. And it is not very much difficult. It's an easy solution, but nobody's paying attention to that. So I'm going to give you some more explanation why this is happening. Number one, these people are unreached because we do not have high resource setting, low resource setting. What we mean by low resource setting, number one, we produce a lot of doctors, but we cannot encourage them to go to the rural or remote areas. So that's one problem. So if you look at the distribution of the doctors, you'll see many doctors are living in urban areas, but less number of doctors are living in the rural area. So we can say that the distribution of these resources is not very much fair. It's unfair distribution. Quality of hospitals do not stay or sustain without a stable income, so they do not go to the rural areas. So the rural areas, we do not see many clinics, we do not see many doctors in the rural area. But they need the healthcare services anyway. So what do? They spend a lot of money to come to the urban area. Sometimes the transportation cost is bigger than the treatment cost. So these are something happening in this world, but we have to do something for them. The economic angle, they call them BOP area because under this pyramid, there is a one economist who made this pyramid. It is called the economic pyramid. So the pyramid is constructed by the income level of people. 1 billion people live on like more than $60 a day. But if you look at the bottom, 3 billion people live $1 to $8 a day, and 1 billion people lives $1 a day. So how can we, since people are poor, they have low literacy, technology developers like us, we do not develop technology directly considering their requirement. So we exclude their requirements and they are not really in our list. And when the industry people go to make a service or make a product, they think that these people are with low purchase power. So they also exclude them from their market or from their customers or consumers. So they are always left behind to the informal sector. The informal sector can be like many thing happening in this society because many fake medicines, fake healthcare organizations, fake sort of medications are available for this kind of people. And we are leaving these people for the charity. Um, so humanitarian organizations like NGOs or government welfare services work for them. So we want to turn this BOP community or base of the pyramid community turn into, we call it a micro entrepreneur level. We want to create business for them. We want to create some sort of using their resources, their intelligence. Um, if you can make some services with them, we definitely can make this unreached people reached. So in order to reach this unreached community, many organizations came up, like MDGs in the early 2000s, and later from 2015, SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, was formed. So there are 17 goals, 169 targets, 230 indicators. Healthcare is under goal number, SDGs goal 3. But the question is, can we really achieve it by the 2030? What exactly is the status now? If you look at the status, and from that projection, some researchers say that it is not possible. Maybe some of the goals can be achieved by the deadline, but most of the goals will not be achieved due to the attention that we can make to the BOP or this unreached community. So we have to do something in this unreached community. Even we look at this child mortality, we look at the child um, malnutrition problem. Everything is, most of the problems are within this unreached community. So the idea is, I work with an organization called Grameen. Grameen is famous for Grameen Bank. They created a bank for the poor people, and they touched almost 2 billion people in the whole world, and their effort was recognized by the Nobel Committee, and they received a Nobel Peace Prize in 2006. So they wanted to create micro entrepreneur in the BOP layer, so that the micro entrepreneurs in the BOP layer can do some business, create a lot of impact, and also solve a lot of issues that is listed in SDGs as well. But we became, like, we are the ICT engineers. We want to build some technology so that the micro entrepreneur can have a tool to introduce in the BOP community, and they can do something by using their technology. So if you look at this, the ICT uses of ICT in developed countries and developing countries are totally different. In developed nations, like in Japan, the country that where I live in, they design ICT, they use ICT to improve the efficiency of the traditional um, infrastructure like education, transportation, healthcare. They use ICT to improve the efficiency only. But ICT in the emerging country, I believe the same situation in Indonesia and many other African, sub-Saharan countries, and also in South Asian countries, ICT becomes in the core. So by using ICT, we are creating services that has not been possible because of the presence of infrastructure. So we cannot build schools in rural areas, but we can use ICT and mobile phone, and we can have give them some access to education. We have this more mobile finance, we have mobile healthcare. So everything is happening by keeping ICT in the core in emerging country. It may not replace the whole thing, but we can at least, by today, we can provide some services for them. So since I'm talking about healthcare, when we had the mobile phone infrastructure, Grameen Phone started one mobile phone-based health consultancy in 2000. So on the patient side, there was only a mobile phone, and in the doctor side, there was a call center. So anyone can pick up a mobile phone and call to the call center. So one of the call center doctor picks up the phone, and they can have a conversation, and after the conversation, the doctor can give some consultancy service. But this service had a lot of limitations, technical limitations, because on the patient side, there is no tool to measure the healthcare status of the patient. So they cannot really explain properly the clinical information to the doctor. So the doctor cannot make a clinical decision, a right decision at the time. But they could create a lot of impact. Almost like 15,000 calls were done per day, and they could give some sort of services, give them some advices, which doctor to talk, which hospital to go, and what kind of medicine they need as primary solutions. So that created a lot of impact. but we wanted to improve this situation. So, and also if you look at the mobile phone users, I said 7.5 billion people, and we have almost like more than uh, uh, 7.9 billion mobile phones right at this moment. Some countries have more. I think the penetration in Indonesia is the highest. You have per 100 people, you have 162 SIM cards. So some people have multiple cards as well. Even if you look at my country, Bangladesh, it also has penetration of 98% phones. So which means that 100 people per 100 people have 98 phones. So this gives an idea that how mobile phones are penetrating in the developing countries as well. So it means you have a mobile phone, we can create a lot of service over the mobile phone network. If you look at the users, even in 1 year, we found like 10 million plus people in 2018 to 2019 internet users. We get 9% mobile phone connections, which gives you 13 million. Even there are some European countries that do not have 13 million population. So this is the penetration level it's happening in the emerging countries. And also, if you look, it's very interesting that the normal telephone, not the normal internet services like broadband services has the average 9 Mbps. But if you use the average, if you use the mobile internet, the speed is almost like twice than the normal connection. So, and also we look at the age of the growing emerging countries, 27 years of that. So it means that how young the people are. So that's the technology and the young people we can really, this is the resources that we have, we can make a lot of changes. And this is also very interesting in Bangladesh that 90% of the phones are prepaid. So when we develop services, we can have these prepaid solutions as well from the developing nations. So in Kyushu University and in Japan, in Bangladesh, Grameen Communications, we developed a community service platform so that the information and the services that we create, it can stay with the community, and it can be a good resource. It is actually the opposite way of the current system that we use, Facebook, Google, and the information that we give, it's crowdsourcing information. The information goes to the top, and the money makes it, also the business goes to the top, so nothing remain in the community area. So we want to make sure that some sort of way, if we develop technologies, then some resource can be achieved by the community people as well. So we worked with Toyota to make Toyota is a car company in Japan. We worked with them. What will be the rideshare application for rural areas? Rideshare like Uber, Lyft, Grab, this kind of applications work only in the urban areas, but the rural areas are really not connected with the services. So we developed a technology with Toyota to how to reach this unreached community by using a different type of rideshare model. So we also work with the healthcare, e-commerce, and so on. So today I will introduce how we developed some sort of technology so we engage the community healthcare worker, empowering them and make them local micro entrepreneurs, and we can introduce some disruptive technology for them. So the portable health clinic that we devised, this is the technology we invented in Kyushu University. We came up with a model of 4 components. One is the portable health clinic. It's a box. It has a lot of sensors. Number 2 is the women micro entrepreneur. Number 3 is a database. It became very important when we have this healthcare database or healthcare big data in the community level, and the telemedicine center, doctor call center. One aspect is the life expectancy is increasing in even in developing countries. The life expectancy in Indonesia is 72. World expectancy average is also around 72, 71. So like the longer life is good, but we do not want the unhealthy life. So we want a healthier life. So in order to do that, I think some sort of portable health clinic can work. So I have a 1 minute video. I want to show how it works in developing countries, um, in Bangladesh specifically. So this is the portable health clinic. As I mentioned, there are 4 components. The first component is the portable health clinic box. Inside the box, we have different type of sensors. Very fortunately, these sensors are becoming cheaper, portable, and affordable. So this lady, she carries this health clinic in the remote rural area, and she can take the measurements of like taking the blood, taking urine, taking the height, weight, and different type of measurements, and she inserted all this data inside a small tablet computer. So in the tablet, we have an artificial intelligence based classification algorithm which can classify the patients into 4 different colors. So only the risky patients can talk to the doctor can talk to the patient, and then he writes the prescription, and the prescription can be locally printed. So all the necessary components can be done by using this portable health clinic. So currently it's working in Bangladesh, but also we recently are working with Gajah Dama University in Indonesia as well, in Malaysia, Thailand, Pakistan, and India as well. So um, if we look at the data, this is the data from Bangladesh until 2018. We have served 41,000 people. And if we see that only the technology and the local entrepreneur, she can handle 70% of 60% of the patients, and 40% needed the doctor consultancy. So this is how we can reduce the load to the doctor and save the time of the doctor and time. Of course, if you can save the doctor time, you can save the cost as well. And of course, the doctor consultants is very much required, but we wanted to see how much we can provide by using keeping some of part of the doctor's brains in the computer. So we developed this triage system to actually classify the patients. So the safe patients can be can be taken care of by the local healthcare or the technology itself, artificial intelligence as well, and the emergency patient can be talked with the doctor. It can work in the regular mode. It can also work in the epidemic or disaster mode as well. So we recently developed another logic for corona logic. We call it C logic or corona logic. So it can, by the telephone conversation, the healthcare worker doesn't visit the patient right away, or we don't know the patient is a patient or not. So the health worker can talk to the person, and then within the conversation, they can um, uh, come up with 5 different colors to make sure the patient is a potential corona person or corona affected or not. So by doing this, we can reduce transmission risk to the doctors or the healthcare worker. Also, we can reduce the load at the existing medical facility. So we made an Android application in different language. Indonesian language is also available. It's only for the research purpose, not for commercial purpose yet. There are a lot of challenges. It's not very easy to serve the rural community. So we categorize them in 3 different: social challenges, technical challenges, and business challenge. So for the social challenge, people really want to see the doctor. People are not really want to talk to a virtual doctor. So that's the reality, but we have to face it. And we are trying to develop our technology, how we can make a virtual doctor look like more um, a real doctor. And the technology challenge is the quality of the services. Sometimes it carries medical errors, the data errors. It can be done by the medical healthcare worker. It can done by the transmission as well. And also the challenge is the doctors, they want to write prescription by using their own way. They don't want to, write everything on the computer or something like that. So they're not really habituated at that. And also they want to see the patient in front of them. They say that they can understand a lot of symptoms by talking to the patient face to face, not online. So it is very necessary that how can we meet that challenge as well. And business challenge in the BOP community that most of the people are poor, they do not want to pay for preventive healthcare. They want to pay when they're in risk. They can sell their houses, their all of the resources, but they are not really habituated to pay for their services, for preventive services. So the business model, so one idea, how can they, do they really trust the e-health doctors or virtual doctors? As you know, people are accustomed to this face-to-face healthcare system for many years, but the e-health that we introduced, it's only 20 plus years old, and maybe the consumer behavior was not very good. So we made a survey that really do they like it or not. So it's one of my PhD student. He did this survey in one area, and the conclusion was, uh, we gave the services, we gave the, for an example, the prescription. We wanted to monitor that whether they purchase the medicines or not, because the medicine cost was not provided by our service. So we found that 75% of them, they purchase the full medicine, and 23% they purchase partial medicine, and 2% didn't buy medicine. So it means that 75% of the people are fully compliant, and 23% were like partial compliant. So this gives us an idea that maybe the consumer behavior is good, and people are trying to understand or accepting the technology. We are also providing artificial intelligence-based prediction of the healthcare, the prediction of the part of the prescription. We cannot predict the whole prescription. It is the job of the responsibility for the medical doctor, but we can assist the doctor. So we can show the part of the prescription that in this kind of situation, you prescribe 90% of the time this kind of medicines, or you diagnose this, how about this? So then the doctor can edit that. So this is the way we can also provide some suggestions to the doctor to make a good clinical decision. So in the PHC database, Portal Healthcare database, we have different type of data. So we wanted to analyze this kind of data, but we were not sure how to analyze them, and what kind of results are really expected. So there are, it is not like traditional healthcare data. It is different. One of the reason is some of the data are like conversational data. Voice data has never been analyzed for medical purposes yet. So this kind of data is mixed with text, audio, video, and also image data. So we are trying to see what kind of prediction can be made, what kind of errors can be detected by analyzing the data. And one other aspect, it's one of the vulnerability. We call that there are three type of vulnerability in unreached community. One is poverty, one is rurality, and the number three is disability. So disabled person are not really connected with the remote healthcare system. So we are trying to find out a technology to recognize their sign language and translate them into text, so that the doctor in the other side can really understand what the patient wants to say. So, and the way can work, the doctor can give a prescription in text, and the text can be converted into a sign language so that the patient can see the sign language as well. We are making micro entrepreneur to make sure that they can abide by the policy set forth by the government as well. Um, I think I spent almost 50 minutes here. I will show 2-3 more slides. We are developing a company now to provide the service to the community as well, because a lot of communities are looking for the solution, but being in the university, we cannot really make a give a commercial solution. So we have finally decided that we will build a company in Japan and provide the services in different countries. One of the idea is we will create micro entrepreneurs in the BOP community. We are developing technologies for them, and we will develop business for them as well. So the problem that I wanted to talk today, this is my summary. It's impossible to run hospital in remote areas. I think in Indonesia, there are a lot of remote areas, including small islands and which are not really connected very much with hospitals. And it is difficult for us to easily increase the number of doctors and provide them, send them to those communities. There are some real very good doctors with big heart who wanted to do that, but we cannot really scale it. So I talked about the research challenges, and I believe that this kind of technology, if we can get more researchers, I welcome you guys. If you are interested in that, join us with joint research with us so that we can solve the issues one by one. One advertisement from myself, we do international conference every year. And the next year we are going to do in March 8 to 12. It will be online. So please keep in touch. We can see more. We can also, we write books and papers on remote healthcare systems. So thank you so much. That's all from myself.
All right, thank you, Dr. Asir Ahmed, for the nice presentation. We have very good time to hearing your presentation. I think if there is some questions from the participants, could we ask you tomorrow at your session because you have to go now?
That will be wonderful if you can do that. So anyone, please send your questions and I will answer tomorrow during my workshop. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We will collect the questions. And thank you for the very interesting and insightful talk about the ICT to promote the healthcare delivery, especially in the remote communities. And I think it's very suitable for Indonesia also. It gives us a very a new perspective to reach the remote communities and how you empower the women in the country. And I think it's a very nice idea, and we will read some questions for you tomorrow. And now we will play some video from Professor Asir, Ahmed, about Genki services at the rural areas. Again, thank you, Professor Asir Ahmed, for your time, and we would like to see you again tomorrow. Good afternoon.
Thank you. Thank you. Terima kasih, and see you tomorrow.
When Nargis Akhtar was a child, she wanted to become a doctor without knowing the harsh reality. Although she couldn't become a doctor, fate mysteriously involved her in serving the people. Now she is monitoring one's blood pressure, and later she would attend some diabetic patients waiting for their regular checkup of sugar levels. On the way, she has to check the health of a pregnant woman. Even not being a doctor, she knows who's suffering from what disease or who's taking which medicine. She's a trained health worker. With 160 million people in a small place, Bangladesh is already plagued with various problems. The healthcare situation is one of the miserable problems amongst all. There's only one doctor for each 15,000 people in the rural areas. The number of registered nurses is more disappointing. Cities are the only hope for better treatment, but the hazards of going to a big city from a remote area of the country are many. Considering this, a milestone was set for saving those at the grassroots, as is being done by Gram Health, a joint venture of Grameen Communications of Bangladesh and Kyushu University of Japan. The entrepreneurs use the country's extensive mobile network to reach out to urban doctors from the rural areas. Since at least 85% of the people in the village now have access to mobile phones, all that was needed was to link it up with healthcare. That is why many more women like Nargis Akhtar have been trained to provide minimum healthcare to the people. The Genki box that they carry from home to home in the village is almost a self-contained laboratory. This box contains almost all the basic health checkup equipment like measuring blood pressure, blood glucose, fever, etc. Moreover, the test results are immediately shared with a remote doctor through the Gram Health Service. After seeing the patient's health data, the doctor consults with the patient for further verification and creates an online prescription. There are several short-term and long-term benefits. The remarkable one is that an informative health database on almost everyone in the village can be created. Other benefits include early detection of both chronic and non-communicable diseases. Early detection will also save healthcare costs. The local health system in the rural areas is so fragile that most diseases are never diagnosed at an early stage. After passing many days, when the disease becomes apparent, there seems nothing else to be done but to waste money and endure harassment that unfortunately becomes the fate of the patient's family. Hence, the Genki project has become an ambassador of peace for them. Moreover, what they have to pay in return is negligible.
আমি এই গেঙ্কি বক্সটি ৮০,০০০ টাকার মাধ্যমে ক্রয় করেছি, যা আমাকে ৬ মাসে পরিশোধ করতে হবে, যা আমি ইতিমধ্যে করছি। আমি এই গেঙ্কি বক্সের মাধ্যমে ১৭টি প্যাথোলজিক্যাল টেস্ট করতে পারি, যা থেকে আমি প্রতি মাসে ২০ থেকে ২১,০০০ টাকা আয় করতে পারছি এবং এর মাধ্যমে আমি গেঙ্কির যে কিস্তি সেটা পরিশোধ করছি। এই প্যাথোলজিক্যাল টেস্টগুলো করতে পেরে আমি আমার আশেপাশের মানুষদেরকে যেমন স্বাস্থ্যসেবা দিতে পারছি এবং এর মাধ্যমে আমি মানসিকভাবে তৃপ্তি পাচ্ছি, তাদেরও উপকার হচ্ছে, সেই সাথে আমি নিজে স্বাবলম্বী হয়েছি এবং ধন্যবাদ জানাই গেঙ্কিকে এরকম একটি উদ্যোগ নেওয়ার জন্য।
This model of healthcare is simple and cost-effective. The model creates local employment. The project has been piloted at 32 locations in Bangladesh and other countries like India, Pakistan, Thailand, Cambodia, Malaysia and Indonesia are also in the list. Remote healthcare system received enormous attention during the COVID-19 pandemic. The Genki research team customized the system to reduce transmission risks and load healthcare facilities. Now, Genki has two operational models, normal model and emergency model. The researchers hope that the same model can be applicable for developed countries as well.
Okay, that was a video from Dr. Asir Ahmed to
Yo, what the fuck?
And please, because Dr. Ahmed have to go now, please all the participants, you can still ask some questions. Please write it or type it on the chat column, and we will read them for Dr. Asir Ahmed for questions tomorrow. So make sure that we will stay tuned tomorrow at Dr. Asir Ahmed session. We will read the questions you have to be answered by Dr. Asir Ahmed. And now I will give the time to the MC, Mr. Aris and Mrs. Sami. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Mrs. Faradila.
Thank you for Mrs. Faradila, who has been conducted this session and also the discussion with Professor Asir Ahmed. And now we have a break for 1 hour.
12.20.
Yeah, the next agenda will be started at 12:20 p.m. And we remind to all the participants, you don't have to leave this Zoom, but you can just mute your audio and video. So our next agenda will be started at 12:20 p.m. Thank you so much.
Baik, kepada seluruh peserta yang mengikuti kegiatan ICPH 2020 pada siang hari ini, bahwa kita telah memasuki waktu isoma, istirahat dan sholat bagi anggota Muslim. Untuk waktunya sendiri 20 menit, jadi kita akan kembali pada pukul 12.20. Bagi seluruh para peserta tidak perlu meninggalkan ruang Zoom. Dengan video jika akan diaktifkan kami persilahkan, begitu. Sekali lagi tidak perlu meninggalkan ruang Zoom karena kita akan kembali pada pukul Dibli, lalu ada Profesor Sanjay Mohanty, begitu. Jadi kami ingatkan kembali pada pukul 12.20 kita akan kembali memasuki ruang Zoom, peserta tidak perlu live atau keluar dari grup dengan video tetap diaktif. Terima kasih, selamat siang, selamat menunaikan ibadah sholat bagi umat Muslim, selamat menikmati makan siang yang telah disediakan.
It's time to bring education into the fourth industrial revolution. Flexible, tailor-made curricula are taught by teachers who become mentors to their students, giving the workforce of tomorrow the tools to become active lifelong learners, independent problem solvers, and create a diverse and pluralistic society where every person understands and plays to their strengths, building a fair and self-sustaining model for education rather than knowledge. Universitas Sibelis Moret is here to align Education 4.0 with Industry 4.0. Universitas Sibelis Moret was established on March 11, 1976. As one of the most outstanding universities in Indonesia, Universitas Sibelis Moret has noble ideals to develop the country.
Universitas Sibelis Moret is located in the suburban area of Surakarta, colloquially known as Solo, a city in central Java, Indonesia. The city is located within a 50-minute flight from Jakarta and 1-hour flight from Bali. Solo is well known as a city of culture
and the capital of batik. Universitas 11 Maret Surakarta has grown rapidly over the years. It has positioned itself to become the leading institution in Indonesia. Universitas 11 Maret strives to provide high-quality education, develop scientific knowledge and technology products at an international level. With its adequate and appropriate learning infrastructure, Universitas 11 Maret offers a unique and engaging learning environment and provides integrated IT facilities and information system in a convenient academic atmosphere and green campus area. The library features thousands of books and provides access to a wide variety of international journals, which is expected to enhance the learning of the students, faculty, and researchers. In addition to the fundamental concepts and skills required for a successful career, a graduate of the Universitas 11 Maret is armed with soft skills by taking part in various student activities on campus and student organizations both at national and international level. Students also have the opportunity to acquire global experience through student exchange programs, global internship programs, multilateral research projects, and other international collaborative activities. Universitas 11 Maret encourages all researchers to promote their work through publication in national and international journals, as well as other forms of dissemination, such as presentation at national and international scientific forums. Researchers have produced excellent research products and become engaged in the activities of the community through various community service programs. Active partnership and strong collaborations have become inseparable parts of Universitas 11 Maret, without which progress in education, research, and community service wouldn't have been achieved. Our international partnerships create ample opportunities for student and staff exchange, research collaboration, and community service. International collaboration helps to give a global perspective on learning in order to address global challenges while still functioning in a national environment based on potential and local wisdom.
Universitas 11 Maret has three main agendas toward a world-class university. Acceleration at various fields of development is needed by embracing the foundation of UNS, Benteng Pancasila. Therefore, 5 strategic policy pillars were decided.
We gladly welcome you to explore and experience our program and to enjoy our campus life, which depicts a blend of cultural power, professional life, and technological advance. Universitas 11 Maret, toward a world-class university. It's time to bring education into the fourth industrial revolution. Flexible, tailor-made curricula are taught by teachers who become mentors to their students, giving the workforce of tomorrow the tools to become active lifelong learners, independent problem solvers, and create a diverse and pluralistic society where every person understands and plays to their strengths, building a fair and self-sustaining model for education rather than knowledge. Universitas Sibeles Moret is here to align Education 4.0 with Industry 4.0. Universitas Sibeles Moret was established on March 11, 1976. As one of the most outstanding universities in Indonesia, Universitas Sibeles Moret has noble ideals to develop the country.
Universitas Sibeles Moret is located in the suburban area of Surakarta, colloquially known as Solo, a city in central Java, Indonesia. The city is located within a 50-minute flight from Jakarta and 1-hour flight from Bali. Solo is well known as a city of culture and the capital of batik.
Universitas Sibeles Moret Surakarta has grown rapidly over the years. It has positioned itself to become the leading institution in Indonesia. Universitas Sibeles Moret strives to provide high-quality education, develop scientific knowledge and technology products at an international level. With its adequate and appropriate learning infrastructure, Universitas Sibeles Moret offers a unique and engaging learning environment and provides integrated IT facilities and information system in a convenient academic atmosphere and green campus area.
The library features thousands of books and provides access to a wide variety of international journals, which is expected to enhance the learning of the students, faculty, and researchers.
In addition to the fundamental concepts and skills required for a successful career, a graduate of the Universitas Sibeles Moret is armed with soft skills by taking part in various student activities on campus and student organizations both at national and international level.
Students also have the opportunity to acquire global experience through student exchange programs, global internship programs, multilateral research projects, and other international collaborative activities. Universitas Sibeles Moret encourages all researchers to promote their work through publication in national and international journals, as well as other forms of dissemination, such as presentation at national and international scientific forums. Researchers have produced excellent research products and become engaged in the activities of the community through various community service programs.
Active partnership and strong collaborations have become inseparable parts of Universitas Sibeles Moret, without which progress in education, research, and community service wouldn't have been achieved. Our international partnerships create ample opportunities for student and staff exchange, research collaboration, and community service. International collaboration helps to give a global perspective on learning in order to address global challenges while still functioning in a national environment based on potential and local wisdom.
Universitas Sibeles Moret has three main agendas toward a world-class university. Acceleration in various fields of development is needed by embracing the foundation of UNS Benteng Pancasila. Therefore, 5 strategic policy pillars were decided.
We gladly welcome you to explore and experience our program and to enjoy our campus life, which depicts a blend of cultural power, professional life, and technological advance. Universitas Sebelas Maret, toward a world-class university.
Let me continue our agenda today. Now, this is the next panel discussion, and in this third symposium, we will deliver 2 topics presented by Professor Michael Dibley and Professor Sanjay Mohanty. Let's proceed to the next discussion, who will lead and hosted by Dr. Faradila Mirsanti, MD, MPH. Please join us to welcoming Dr. Faradila Mirsanti, MD, MPH.
Baik, kepada seluruh peserta, selamat datang, selamat bergabung kembali dalam lanjutan dari panel diskusi. Hari ini kita akan bersambung bersama Dr. Faradila Mirsanti, masih dengan 2 pembicara internasional kita, ada Profesor Michael Dibley, ada Profesor Sanjay Mohanty. Saya akan menyapa Dr. Faradila terlebih dahulu. Apakah sudah siap, Ibu Faradila?
Sudah, Farid,
Ya.
terima kasih.
Baik, kepada seluruh peserta IJPH 2020, kami ucapkan selamat melanjutkan kembali kegiatan simposium pada siang hari.
Yeah. Before we start our next agenda, let me read his outstanding curriculum vitae. Dr. Faradila Mirsanti, MPH, was graduated medical doctor from Universitas 11 Maret in 2006. Then she got her Master of Public Health from Universitas 11 Maret in 2017. And now she is head of Community Health Center Purwodiningrat, Surakarta. Please welcome to Dr. Faradila Mirsanti, MD, MPH.
All right, thank you very much, Mrs. Sani, for the greeting and CV.
You're welcome.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Now we go to the second session. The first session was by Dr. Asir Ahmed from Japan. And the second session, this time will be a talk by one of our best speakers who present to this symposium. He is Professor Michael Dipley. Good afternoon, Professor Michael Dipley. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Good afternoon.
Thank you very much. How are you?
Good thing.
It is really a pleasure for us to welcome you today for giving talk in this conference. Thank you for sparing your time. Professor Dipley will present a title, Understanding Interaction Between Risk Factors for Child Malnutrition to Better Design Prevention Policies and Programs. Before the presentation begins, let me notify again that there will be about 45 minutes for presentation and about 10 minutes for question and answer session. And allow me to introduce Professor Dipley briefly first. Professor Michael J. Dipley is a professor in global public health, nutrition, and in an internationally renowned nutritional epidemiologist with major research outputs and translation over the past 30 years. He attained his Doctor of Philosophy and also his Master of Public Health from Emory University and his Bachelor of Medicine and Surgery in the University of Sydney and Bachelor of Science in the University of Sydney. His experience, he's a professor in Global Public Health Nutrition at Sydney School of Public Health, Faculty of Medicine, and I think this is also his current position now. And he was also the Associate Professor in International Public Health at Sydney School of Public Health, Faculty of Medicine, and also the Senior Lecturer in Epidemiology at Faculty of Medicine and Health Sciences and at the University of Newcastle, and Research Associate, Assistant Professor, and Field Director of the Morvita Trial at Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health, and also the Visiting Scientist, Epidemic Intelligence Services at Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. I think this is the short CV of Professor Dipley, because I believe if I have to read all of his writing and publication, it will take so many hours. Professor Michael Dipley has conducted so many researches throughout the world, including Indonesia. And if I'm not mistaken, Professor Dipley also speaks Bahasa Indonesia. So let's welcome our honorable speaker. Please, Professor Dipley, take your time.
Thank you very much for the kind introduction. Selamat sore dari Australia, but I'm afraid I'm not going to deliver my lecture in Indonesian today.
Thank you.
I appreciate that delivering in another language takes a lot of time and effort, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to get everything together. So we're going to have it in English, but I'll try to speak reasonably slowly, and we'll just see how we go. I'll start by sharing my screen. Just a second here. And I think that the title slide should now be visible. As was introduced, I'm going to talk about understanding interactions between risk factors for child malnutrition to better design prevention policies and programs. And I've just put on the other side of the slide one of WHO's infographics about stunting.